What? How are you? We have some Q&A to do. I hope you're doing fine, 'cause it's Q&A time again. Hello, world. How's it going? Hope you guys are all doing great. Welcome to another Friday Night Live Q&A with me, your host, your boy, LRB. Lucas Bretts, if you didn't know. Oh my goodness. Feels good to sit down. Hope you guys are all doing great. We've been staying busy out in the backyard. Hello to all you wonderful people I'm seeing in the chat. Glad to see you all in here. And yes, for those who haven't been here, this is Q&A, a segment I do every week where you can ask the community and I questions on keeping freshwater aquarium fish, shrimp, and plants. Now, I wish I had something to get us closer to that barb tank. It's been a while since I've had that back there. I guess I could just chill back there. We'll just do that. Start chucking chairs out of the way. But I'll get to your guys' questions here soon. Yeah. Oh, and there's a vacuum and a cord. Let's get closer to these. Soon, flip you guys over. But yeah, I've been out in the backyard moving them out in dirt over to my neighbor's yard. Which I've been videoing all that for you guys too. Crashed the back of the trailer. That took a little time. It finally bent up on us. But we got lots of dirt moved, which is super exciting. And also, we Master Aquascaper was here today, so that's exciting. Which was good that when he got here for Aquascape, Chris Yax is his name. Hopefully we'll work something out. But luckily he wasn't like, oh crap, what's going on here? So I got a lot of good things confirmed as far as like building the pond, and may go with the system of theirs, and we'll see. And yeah, I'm excited about it, but definitely tired from digging a bunch of dirt. But I'm happy about it. But anyways, enough of that. Oh, and I did want to let you guys know, everybody in here, not long ago I did a video. I was going to talk about doing fish outside in tubs and just keeping tropical fish outside or just any fish outside. And how all that works, or my experience with it and what I found out. So, this Sunday, let's go at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Sunday. I'll give you guys an hour and we'll do a Q&A where it's just all about outdoor stuff. So, have a great 4th of July. Think about all of like the outdoor projects you may have and questions for them. Then hit me up on Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll go through that because I wanted to do that with you guys and we didn't have a good enough connection last time, so we'll get that fixed up here and we'll make that happen. I'm not really seeing any questions yet either, so I do need to get out of top chat here. And so much glare from that light. Can you see what's going on with this? And Nurse Becca's in the chat. She must not have to work tonight. Get that Friday before the 4th of July off. So I'm excited for, ready to just relax for the 4th. And then on to shoveling more dirt on Sunday. But it's coming along out there. Let's see, Adam Schruntz says, how are you digging the orders from last week? LOL, I'm waiting patiently. So, yeah, I had to not ship. Hopefully you all got an email for that. But there was no shipping this week just because the USPS would have had Saturday off and most shipments land on Saturday. So I just couldn't risk it with the heat that's been around. It was just not worth the risk for me to ship. So this Wednesday we will be shipping everything out. But hopefully you guys all got an email from that. Jessica Hussey, thank you so much for The $2 super chat says, how do neon tetras do in hard water? Any advice? They do good in hard water. The trick is if they were in soft water previously, you just got to slowly acclimate them to the hard water. Just because their systems aren't used to all the different bacteria and stuff that live in hard water instead of soft water. But you can breed them. I heard people bred them in hard water. These guys are so hungry. I wish they'd eat the reishi. They eat the crap out of some guppy grass, but they will not eat that reishi. Craig Broderick, Diet Coke and Ice. Ooh, no, I would not drink anything diet. Anything with aspartame is no bueno. I don't even chew gum because of it's got this aspartame and everything else. Actually, apple cider tonight, which I love me some good apple cider. And some water. Do you have live plants and tested your water perimeter? Oh, that's HPS. He's talking to somebody else. My Juliachromis Macadi just had babies. Will the parents eat them? So, shouldn't. I believe they will mouth brood too, won't they? I believe the Juliachromis won't do that. So if they're not used to it, there is always a possibility that they're just haven't figured out the parenting thing yet, and they can, but more than likely, no. But if you want to be real safe, and if they do brood them, which I think they do, you can always strip them. I've never actually stripped a fish, but I do know there's lots of videos about all that. Yeah, I can only hold this up for so long. My wrist is toast from all that digging. Whew. Scooch on back up here. Sorry guys, I know it would have been a lot better having that there. Any tips for breeding? Ask Blake Howden. Well, I mean, considering that's a general question, pretty broad, but if I had to say just for the aquarium fish period, is find the right water for them. Don't get like too pinpointy with it. Just make sure you're near the same type of water, like whether it's acidic or alkalytic or even neutral, and the temperatures. As long as you set their mood up for that tank and for what they prefer, then I mean, it's game over. Now you do gotta learn how certain fish do breed, because some make bubble nests, some mouth brood like I was talking about previously, mostly cichlids and stuff. But there's all kinds of information to find that out on the internet. Lots of great resources. Let's see, SeriousFish.com is one that I use often for fish profiles. They have lots of fish profiles on there. There's a Bad Man's Tropics, a good one. And there's tons on Google. But it's all about just setting them up in the right aquarium with the right water and making them comfortable. And if you can get plants that are used to their biotope, even better, because they have that natural instinct to breed on certain plants often. And sometimes it's even just algae. Hair algae covered tank, those make the best breeding tanks. Anything will breed in hair algae. Just because it's all over, in nature, it's all over the place. And that's what they're used to breeding in. Full of nutrients, microbials are constantly eating off of it, so it's great for fry and young fish. So I hope that helps you. How well does pearlweed grow floating without CO2? Real well. I do not have any problems with it not growing. And it's like set it and forget it. Gary Howe says, setting up a 175-gallon planted tank for discus, any advice? I'm actually about to get rid of my discus just because this room stays 85 degrees year round. And when it's summer out, it just gets even hotter and that humidity gets a little crazy. So, I don't know. I'm kind of wanting to find a new home for my discus because I've got 240 gallons of nothing but hot discus tank water just heating me up in here. So, I don't know. The best thing to do with discus is they do like water changes. They like that turnover. And they're not as finicky as you would think they were. Keep in mind they are a cichlid, so they will act like a cichlid. They do have pecking orders and hierarchies when it does come to keeping them in groups. And you can kind of tell, like some will just pair up and be the dominant pair, and then you'll have like the rest of the group. A lot of people call them water chickens because they have similar hierarchies to chickens. Boom, fireworks. Did you guys hear that? I'm seeing all kinds of awesome people in here. I wish I could say hello to all of you. Any eggs collected and hatched from the mascara barbs, LRB Aquatics? So no, not recently at all. And another thing, good news, is I did go ahead, sign for, pay for some new custom aquarium tanks for a new system going up over here. So that's being built, and that's gonna be exciting. And yeah. So when I do end up doing that, I should have more space to do bigger breeding projects for the bigger fish. The hard part about these fish and getting them bred out is just doing it without them all eating the eggs. Like I still want to try the trap idea a couple more times just to tweak it out, but if I don't have any luck with that, and I can't focus on any of that really until I get this pond done, which now after talking to that master aquascaper this earlier today, I feel more confident that it will definitely be done by this summer, without a doubt. So Fish Tank Barn, thank you so much for throwing that $3 super chat. I appreciate you, Mike Howe. Thank you so much, brother. Streetwise says, Internet says white clouds breed at 6 to 12 months. I could only find small ones for my tubs. I'm trying to figure out when they might breed if I do my part. So I don't know. I will need all your guys' help too in the chat with this one, because I would like to know of any of you who have bred out white clouds. With my golden white clouds, they only breed seasonal for me, so I don't know if anybody else has issues with that. I do know somebody who has told me that there's just constantly breeds and breeds for them, so I don't know. I would say they could breed after 12 months. I would think they could. So if anybody else has any experience breeding white clouds, let me know. Because really the only ones I've bred out have been in a very, very natural way that wasn't, like I wasn't conditioning anything. They just pretty much bred. I played musical fish, they left some eggs, I got babies. All right. Henry Chavez, thank you so much for the $50 Mexican super chat. I think that's MX, right, Mexico? Do you ever have any bigger monster fish? Any tips on Oscars and compatible tank mates? So, I don't know. I've grew up with Oscars, so of course my dad had that 55-gallon with the Oscars in it, and I grew up with them, but I've only kept one personally. And I ended up getting rid of him because with my no filter method, he just pooped a lot. He was creating all kinds of algae, and it's really hard to do without a filter. I can tell you that much. Big reason why I don't keep monster fish is I just don't have space for them. I barely have enough space just for the little fish that I keep. So if I started keeping monster fish, I mean, I'd end up like Ohio Fish Rescue or something. I just don't have space for that because I've already built all this, which I'm about to rebuild here soon. So if anybody else has tips for Henry in the chat, please help brother out. As far as like compatible tank mates, because I've never actually personally kept anything else with an Oscar. I'm pretty sure you can keep some things with them though. I just don't know for sure. like something I can feel confident about telling you. Hey, does your aquarium room stink? I have 4 tanks, sometimes they do. Well, how do you maintain? So, in my philosophy is if your tank stinks, there's something wrong with it. There's an imbalance in it. Your tank should not stink. So usually if you got a like stink coming into your tank, means you've got too much waste that doesn't have enough beneficial bacteria to eat up. So you're more than likely overfeeding, or something died in it, or your plants are dying. So, I mean, that's the only reason why you should have a stinky tank. Besides that, you should not have any stink. You should not, it should just be normal. And even when I get stuff that dies in here, just like passes away of old age or whatever, or fish cancer or who knows, it still doesn't stink unless you just left it in there to rot. So something has to be rotten to get that smell. SC Aquatics, Steven, my brother, glad to see you in here, throwing down a $5 super chat. Hope everything's good with you. Says you need a breeding warehouse. That would be grand. Wish I had a big pool barn where I can like totally organize all that stuff. Right now I'm just gonna work with what's going on here. We were planning on going to the island, as many of you guys had known, but after the whole coronavirus, we just decided to hunker down here and do some things. And I've got some really cool stuff for this house, like for the future here, that will just be like no other. Especially if we can get to the big project of adding the next level to this after the ponds. But thank you, Steven. I appreciate you, SC Aquatics, for the super chat. And yeah, I wish. I am going to try to get more automated here, though, to save time and to focus more on breeding, especially now that I don't have a helper. R.I.P. Haley. No, just kidding, Haley. I know she's probably listening. She's still alive. She just doesn't work here no more. Danikin Aquatics run down $10 super chat, says dibs on the discus. LL. What up, bro? Well, if you get over here, Ken, definitely they can be all yours. I don't want to ship them because that one guy's pretty big, so it'd be hard to ship them. But yeah, you make it over here, brother, they are yours for sure. And thank you so much for the support and everything. You're always awesome with that. And if you guys haven't seen Danikin Aquatics yet, like he's got a fish house like I do. It's crazy. He's also an aquarium hoarder, big time. Farm Fish Freedom says, what would happen if you have a very densely planted and decorated tank and didn't notice a dead fish for a long time? So it really depends. It could just get absorbed into your aquarium and you not even know it. And sometimes it can create a little algae bloom or a bacterial bloom. It all kind of depends on what's in the column, how that water is being kept. Like I said earlier in the stream, and with fish, if you get saltwater fish, soft water doesn't hold as many bacteria and different funguses as hard water does. And just because of the acidity of the water, it's hard for some to transition, like diseases and whatnot. So that all plays a big factor in it too. So if you have a real natural system, should just eat it up. If you don't have a lot of beneficial bacteria and all the little good tiny little organisms that like to eat that kind of stuff up, then it will probably rot more and funk up your water. Like the no filter method is actually great for situations like that, just because you have those tiny little organisms in that water. If you use a filter, those little organisms don't have time to build up. And often when a fish dies in an aquarium, that I've learned in my systems, is they'll sit at the bottom first day, second day, the air bladder fills up and they'll go to the top. So I don't even have to go fishing for them. I just wait till the second day, wait till them to float up and take them out. And Henry Chavez, thank you again for the super chat, throwing down the $20. Says, but you like them, which monster fish would you get? Oh, arowanas. Definitely arowanas. Iridescent sharks. I've always loved iridescent sharks. The high-banded Chinese sharks. Those things are awesome. Really, any of the sharks. The piranhas, flagtails I love. I do like big fish. I just don't have space. And those big tanks are expensive. Crazy expensive. And Joe Campbell, my brother, thank you so much for throwing down the $5 super chat and your support, Joe. Appreciate you. Hope you're having a good one. And Nurse Becca's throwing down the support, $20 super chat, says, hello and yes, please. Tips and tricks for moving many tanks, many fish, and 3 thriving Neo colonies across the state. Hashtag thanks, bud. Hashtag pearls of wisdom. Yes, I will definitely try to get that done for you. I'm not sure when your move is. Hopefully I can get it done before then. But as far as like tips for moving tanks, the way I did it is, well, it depends on the size of them too. Depends on how much manpower you have as well. I mean, I can move some stuff just because I'm used to working construction. So what I did is I just left the substrate in the bottom. Most people do not recommend this. I mean, I had no problem with it. I moved 14 tanks like this and no problems with any seams, seals, or anything like that. So I had Sarah and we cut the substrate down in the bottom so it still had all the mold in it. It was all still active. I even left the plants in there, which I just covered up with wet paper towel. Just kept it moist. And then you can cover it with some plastic wrap to keep that humidity in there so it almost creates like a terrarium. Now it is tricky, you gotta drive real slow because if you hit the brakes and that stuff all moves forward, it'll slide into one clump. But you'll at least have all your beneficial bacteria. Now if you don't wanna leave that substrate in there, get it in a bucket. You want to save your beneficial bacteria. All that dirty, brown, moldy, dirty water, save some of that to recycle your tanks. That way you don't have to wait 3 weeks to recycle all your tanks. And you have something ready for your Neocaridinias. Because you're not going to want to keep a colony of Neocaridinias in a temporary tub too long because it's not what they're used to. They'll end up stressing out. And it's just better to get them back into their homes sooner than later. So I would say definitely keep back some dirty gravel, dirty moldy water, at least a bucket full for 4 tanks if you don't want to keep your substrate in there. But if you got small tanks, leaving your substrate in there and just walking easy with it so it doesn't slosh too much, you can get away with that. But if you just don't want to worry about that, that's what I would do. Throw it in a bucket and then move your tanks that way. Then you can add it as you go. And then if you got plants, you can, what I would do, don't bother trying to wet them with newspapers, anything like that. Somebody ships you, I'm sorry, but these people who ship their plants with newspaper around them or in a bag of water or something like that, they're killing that plant. The only way to really ship and move plants is to put it in a terrarium-like situation, even if it's been underwater for a long time. And I know this from experience for decade plus of shipping and moving plants. So get a big plastic bag and put them in that, and that's the best way to do that. You can get a trash bag, just throw it all in a trash bag if you weren't worried about it, and then just tie that thing up, boom. I used to go around aquatic experiences and aqua shells and stuff after the whole event. I'd go around as Santa Claus just giving bagfuls of those away from extras and stuff. And it's just an easy way to move them. So I hope that helps. And thank you so much for the support, Nurse Beckus. And sorry if I'm missing any of your guys' questions. I wanted to cover that because I thought it was a good topic and would help a lot of you guys. And Pittsburgh Parallets, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, I've been trying to breed cherry shrimp. Took your advice and added rock piles to the tank. Success. Thanks for the great videos. Ed Motes. Well, thank you so much for the super chat, and I am glad that that helped you out. And yeah, it's amazing what adding a rock pile to a shrimp tank will do. It's crazy. If that's your last name, that's a cool name, because I feel like I'm building a moat in the backyard. For those who didn't know, I'm working on a big pond project out in the back. That's why I haven't been putting out many other videos. Just looked at my phone, not there either. What device are you on? Like, oh. Candy, always great to see you in here. Big shout out to Candy Overhauls. I mean, I want to say the best mod out there, and well, I'm going to say it. She is the best mod out there. She's absolutely amazing at what she does, and she's absolutely amazing to our community. So big shout out to Candy Overhauls. Appreciate you. Angie Early Wine says, will nematode worms eat fish eggs? Saw some worms in my rainbow hatchery. Should I worry? I don't know. Like, I've never actually seen them eat a fish egg. I've seen them crawl around them. But also, different fish eggs taste different to different things. So, I've seen cherry shrimp just pick around rainbow fish eggs. But you get them with some Corydoras, they'll eat up their eggs, like, real fast. So, I guess it depends. And as far as the nematodes, usually they're very harmless. And they will eat, or the fish can eat off of them. You can cure them with the Pan-Cure C dog dewormer, which is a powder. What I like to do is get that powder, you can mix it up and turn it into a liquid, put it in some water that's been dechlorinated. And you use 0.1 grams per 10 gallons. Then you wait, what was it? 72 hours, and then do a 25% water change, and then you repeat that until they're gone. And that's how you can get rid of those nematodes if you don't like them. Now, if you got mystery snails or anything else that is kind of like a worm type body, that can affect them. So keep that in mind if you do use that Pan-Cure C dog dewormer method. But I would just observe it, really. Rainbow fish, most things will leave rainbow fish eggs alone because I think they got pretty hard shells too. And Color Guppies, thank you so much for the support and $5 super chat. I appreciate you guys. You guys actually with these super chats have been helping out the channel a lot. I haven't been doing a whole lot of other videos besides these ones a week, but the algorithm must have hit up on something and finally getting some momentum, and I guess they figure with all your guys' super chat and support, I guess they should expose me more to the world, which has been great, and I want to thank you guys all for your awesome support. Even just being on here, hitting that like button, asking questions. Wouldn't be here without you guys. Janice Lundberg, thank you so, well, I'm used to use super chat, but anyone with which plant is best for breeding guppies, Java moss or guppy grass? So I would go with guppy grass when it comes to breeding guppies over the Java moss, and this is why. Because when you're breeding guppies, the adults and the babies like to sleep on the bottom, but during the day they like to stay at top. So the guppy grass can cover both bottom and top. The Java moss is usually stuck more down towards the bottom. So, I don't know. I would say guppy grass. Just to keep the babies and the moms from eating each other. But you can still do it with Java moss. But if I had to say what I would prefer over one or the other, that's what I would say. And Fish Whisperer Miles, thank you so much for the $1 super chat. And always great to see you in here, Janice. But thank you, Fish Whisperer Miles. No, I'm all over the place now. Trying to talk way too fast. Let's see. and read all this stuff. Sharon Miller, Lucas, can you put other fish with pea puffers? So what I've learned with pea puffers is they're pretty much species only tank. I've tried to keep them with so many different things. I don't know if any of you guys have had any luck, but I have not had any long-term success with keeping something with a pea puffer. They just want to get nippy. They get territorial. Let's see. Well, Kimmy says, I don't know why I clicked this. No hate. Well, welcome in. This is kind of a rabbit hole for some people. They're not quite used to this whole aquarium fish madness that some of us can get ourselves into. But it is a great community, a very peaceful hobby, and sky's the limit. There's so many things you could do with it as far as a hobby with creativity and just expressing yourself. It's an art form, really. But glad to have you in here, even though you didn't expect yourself to be in here. Scrolling. Is there a war going on in your fish room? What is the banging sound? That's probably my neighbor lighting off fireworks. They love to light fireworks off here. And it's close to the 4th of July. What's a good red freshwater aquarium plant to add? A lot of people go for the Althanaria. I think I said that right. Reneki is usually the go-to red. And then, like real solid reds, you got Luigia. What is that stuff? There's like purple Luigias. I can't think of it now. I don't know why I can't think of it. But there's a few Luigia types out there that are real red. Some of the Rotalias you can get red, they're just harder to get red. The Luigias, the red ones that you can get, they are like pretty solid red. As long as you got a decent light and getting some iron into them, then you can definitely get the red out of them. But with the Rotalas, they really like the real highlight and the fertilizer to really punch those reds. Yeah, they're not even having the fireworks show this year, which is kind of crazy. Like, that really celebrates independence. Farm Fish Freedom says, what kind of plants do good in high pH? So your Luigias do great in high pH. Mosses will do great in high pHs. Anubias can be tricky because they grow slow. So your slower growers, like Anubias, Java Fern, stuff like that, they can be trickier in hard water. They can be grown in hard water, but it's trickier because they are slow growers. But once you get them into a biomass and really growing, then it really doesn't bother them much. But cryptocorn types of plants, you can keep a variety of Rotalias, not all of them, but a lot of the Rotalias, like guppy grass, pearlweed, Monte Carlo, like Taiwan lilies, Brazilian pennywort, Vallisnerias, dwarf sages, pygmy chain swords. There's lots out there. But soft water, softer the water is usually better for any plant, just because the way it breaks down the minerals and nutrients in the water, it has that acidity to break it down to where it's more absorbable for the plants. So that's why people often recommend soft water for plants, but it's not absolutely necessary. It's just it has a better uptake rate for nutrients. And Thomas Glazier, my brother, once again throwing down the super chat and support. I appreciate you. Says MTS Enabler Fund. Well, I appreciate your enabling, and I will definitely put that to my MTS because I'm wanting to, now that I'm hooking up with custom aquariums, I'm almost like rethinking a lot of this fish room and like just putting in systems. But we'll see what we can get figured out with them and all that stuff, and that's all coming down the road. No rush. Rome wasn't built overnight, right? Once again, sorry if I'm missing your guys' questions. Doing my best here. I'm trying to get closer to the bottom. What is a good temp and hardness for pseudomugil luminatus? I keep my tanks at room temperature in my room. In Florida, it's always 80, haha. And is hard water good? So they will do good with hard water. 80 degrees is kind of high temp, but they should be, actually not really. I mean, really any rainbow fish at 80 degrees is pretty good. What I would do is more than likely they could already even be breeding in your tank. So I've kept mine in warm, hard water like that and actually have bred them out. So you could probably even get a spawning mop if you were trying to breed them, but sounds like they're in a good home from what you got. Scottish Aquarium says, nice to see you. How's it going? Well, nice to see you as well. It's going well. Doing my thing here on YouTube. And yeah, ready for the 4th of July. Take it easy tomorrow because I've been digging dirt for the last couple of days. And yeah, ready to relax. C Million, do you currently keep any colorful dwarf cichlids, any type, for keeping them in liquid rock here from my well in Central Florida? So your guys' liquid rock is a little different because you have some sort of like softness to it or acidity to it, even though it does still have all that calcium and stuff. So your guys' water is really primed for a lot of fish. Laticara types of fish, there's a lot that people don't know and haven't seen, but if you go through collectors and stuff, you can sometimes find different types of sorts of Laticaras that are different than like your Agazis and your like regular whatchamacallums, that Piscogrammas. But yeah, I mean, your Piscogrammas are gonna like the softer water, but you can get some little Laticaras, the lupus, or lupi cichlids, shellies do well in hard water, any type of shelly type fish. I think, yeah, pretty much anything African that stays on the smaller size. And it's actually really crazy how many types of cichlids are out there. Like your standard ones that most people see that aren't into like fish clubs and stuff, there's probably like a few hundred. You get into like fish clubs and stuff, you're gonna learn like there's thousands of these fish and it's just crazy. At least it feels like there's thousands of them. That's why I can never keep up with them, like cichlids, just because there's so many of them. Another Thez says, thanks for making our day so much better. Hey, you all stay safe. Candy, thank you for your presence as always. Yes, I agree. And yeah, you hit me with that I'm more than likely gonna read it. I'm over here like the anchor man, just reading off the teleprompter right now. Do you fertilize that real green tank up top? So no, actually Sarah's been helping me a lot with my fertilization, so like the balances aren't quite on like key to where I would hit it. But if you've got green hair algae or green water algae growing in your aquarium, do not fertilize it, because you have too many nutrients. So let them eat off the nutrients that they already have. I wouldn't wait till like the green hair algae disappears. If you got green hair algae, like say that one's got a big clump on the side, do your water change, remove that. Then maybe half dose what you're normally dosing for fertilizer and see if that grows back less. And it should grow back less, because you'll be feeding it less. Usually when you got hair algae or green water like that, you just got not enough plants and too many nutrients. And the reason why you have too many nutrients is because you don't have enough plants to uptake those nutrients. Hope that makes sense. Holy crap, is that for real, Cichlids 23, or are you just making up a number? He's trying to say 7,695,496 different cichlids. I don't know. That's a lot of cichlids. There's no way. But I could almost believe that. It does sound like a war going on out there. You know, I live near. Never mind. I ain't even. Not even gonna say any jokes, cause you know, PC life. Hiya, thanks for all the info. Do you ever have a problem with old Eco Complete? So, over I would say like 3 or 4 years, a lot of the Eco Complete and the mold that collects in it can just end up turning towards dirt. So that can have a lot of excess nutrients at the top, and that can cause some algae issues. But whenever it gets to that point, I just kind of like rake up the like top little bit and get that stuff out, and then wait like another year or two and then do that if I have to. But no, rarely ever do I have any, like, it doesn't really cause any issue besides that extra algae issue. Scottish Aquariums, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Scottish Aquariums. I know we do need jokes, but unfortunately, it's the way she goes for now. You can absolutely, Texas Andy Aquatics says you can absolutely keep apistos in hard water. I have 5 species, they just won't breed until you soften the water. Why? I just bought an RO system, but they will survive just fine. It's true, they will live in hard water, but yeah, when it comes to breeding, you gotta have that soft water for them. And I am at the bottom of the chat, so if you had that question, and Scottish Aquariums throwing down the 2 pounds, appreciate you, bro. Show me all kinds of love. Thank you so much, Scottish Aquariums. Thank you, thank you. Man, it's getting awful noisy out there. Alright, is it mandatory to have a RO system for neocaridinias? No, not at all. Not at all. You do not want or need that. Neocaridinias love hard water, so the harder the better, for sure. Are you sure it's not looters? I think they would be louder, and if it was, like, I'm prepared. You guys, I don't know if you guys know what that is right there, beside the cat. The whole family's safe here, let me just say that. I got a long way to go. Well, yeah, shrimp and hard water. Oh, JH Aquatics says, I'm loving this, Vermont. Glad to see you in here, JH Aquatics, brother. Says, I am loving this Vermont water, minus the chloramine, 80 ppm and 6.9 pH. Yeah. The good thing with soft water is you can add GH and KH if you do want to keep harder water fish. It's not as hard to harden up water as it is to soften up water. Because really the only true way to soften up your water would be with a RO system. But glad to hear you're loving your water up there, JH, and it's been cool seeing what all you guys been doing, and glad to see the Fish Fam News is back. Always loved that segment that you did. Tat kitty, right? I've got them trained. That's protection against aggressive fish. Yes, those discus, they get out of hand. And no, that's not a riot shield. A little riot shield won't do nothing. Carla Mullenkamp says, what is the minimum size tank I need for 12 Hillstream loaches? I do weekly water changes of about 50%. Now, I don't know if you're trying to breed them or anything like that, but you could easily keep 12 Hillstream loaches in a 20-gallon, even probably a 10-gallon, no problem. 20-gallon would probably be a better suit for them, and whether it's long or high, I would give them lots of rock piles that they could be in, and that would be plenty enough space for 12 Hillstream loaches. And if you do give them rock piles, they could probably community breed on you. What kind of good micro and iron dry ferts are out there on Amazon that are good and possible possibly safe for shrimp. So Texas Andy Aquatics, I do not know. I have no idea. I'm not a big Amazon connoisseur for certain reasons. Darn you, Lucas. I asked you if cork bark is safe for all aquariums, please. I don't know. I've never actually used cork bark, and since it floats, I could imagine it's just gonna float around. But I would think that it would be safe for aquariums because a lot of people do paludariums, which it's like an aquarium and terrarium put together. But don't hold me to that. Hopefully Google can have a better answer or somebody in the chat, because I have not personally tried it. And John McKenzie, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, John. Says, do you use pothos or any other plants outside of tanks? So yes, I actually do. I have plants all over my house. And there's actually some pothos I've been trying to get growing in around here just so I can have like it spiraling around my fish tanks and stuff. Yes, I do have a lot of other plants. And if I had more time, I would do more gardening. Sarah, which is my girl, and she has been taking care of a lot of the gardening lately. And I guess with the pond, once I get this pond going, I'm more than likely probably going to get more green thumb into like the landscaping plants, which is something I haven't really dove deep into, which I am kind of excited to learn about that because I would like to add that to my repertoire. But I do like just putting some pothos in some tanks and just hanging them on the side. But thank you, John McKenzie, for the super chat. I appreciate your support. You guys have been absolutely... Depends on the biomass of the plants. So when you're thinking about fertilizing too, always think about how many plants you have in there. So say you're starting off your aquarium, you're not going to want to start with the maximum dose. You're going to want to start small. Then once your plants grow out, they're going to start consuming more. And you got to think about it that way. So as their biomass grows, the hungrier they're going to get. The hungrier they get, the more fertilizer you need. That's the way you balance it. So you start off small, let them grow up to it, and then they just graduate, and then that's what you keep in mind. So if you're used to feeding a tank and then you do a big trim or something like that and you feed them your normal, it can cause that algae bloom or some issues because you don't have as much biomass in there from before. So I hope that makes sense and helps some of you guys out. Because, I mean, in a nutshell, that's how you keep planet aquariums. And when you use fertilizers. You gotta think about that biomass. How big those plants is. Okay. No, it's not cichlids 23. Let's see, scrolling. But it ain't far, actually, that's not what I would use here, I would use something else. Ready, Land Red, what plants are best for aquariums that are not harmful to cats? I've never had any issues with cats. I have 5 cats, and I've never had any issues with any of the plants that I've ever gotten. And they really have no interest towards these plants, for the most part. Now, we do let our cats go outside, so they probably get their plant fill outside. So if anybody else knows or may know of a plant that just is not okay for like maybe an indoor cat who may start chewing on things that may grow up out of the tank, would like to know. William Booth, what would be an easy way of catching cories in a heavily planted tank? So since they like to kind of scoot and skedaddle everywhere, I would get some food and put it into like a little jar or whatever. That way they can go scoot in there and eat on it. But when you go to shut it or capture them out of it, you got to be real slow not to spook them. And what I would do is, here, let me flip you guys around. So what I would do is I'd have that jar or whatever, and if you can get it to where it's got a deep bottom and then a skinnier neck, even better. But I would put that to where it's only got like this much space against the glass, so they can go in there and then make a little home out of it and eat. But as soon as you see them in there, I would go real slow, and then I would try to push that up against there and then try to trap them that way. Or some people will use like a liter bottle and they'll cut it. So they'll cut that bottle in half and then they'll turn it inside out. That way it makes a funnel going in. That way the fish can get in, but it makes it real hard for them to get out. That's a good way to trap them. Or you can set up a net. Sometimes you can get lucky and throw a net in the corner and trap them that way. It's a little food. Pothos is poisonous to cats. Yeah, my cats have just never shown any interest to it. Whoa, holy moly. Janice Lundberg, thank you so much for the big support. Throwing down the $20 super chat. Says, now you can thank me, haha. That was weird. It's total Freudian or something. Says, when will you have guppy grass back in stock? Your guppy grass does well in my water, but I lose the pearlweed every time I order it. My water is soft, and am I doing something wrong? I really don't know, because pearlweed to me is super hardy. I've never really had any issue with it in soft water. I don't know if you're adding any fertilizers. When I do use soft water, I do fertilize. So since it does like to grow kind of quick like guppy grass, it can't uptake a lot. But I know it loves water changes. The reoxygenation of water changes can help it grow fast and keep it going. So I don't know, I don't know what your maintenance schedule is like, but I do know the extra oxygenation helps them. I don't know, usually if you can grow guppy grass, you should be able to grow pearlweed. And unless the light is just enough to grow guppy grass, but just not enough to grow pearlweed. That's about the only thing I could think of. Yeah, and as far as when I'll have guppy grass back in stock, I was kind of wanting to wait after the holidays here. So we'll probably go next Friday. I'm going to start stocking everything back up. I just needed to, after the whole COVID-19 thing, you guys were just eating up my whole fish room, and I just had to slow everything down, let everything regenerate. And I should have more up here by next Friday. Not this Friday, but next Friday. But Janice, thank you so much for the awesome support again. And I'm sorry I didn't have a better answer for you on that pearlweed, because, I don't know, it's just been hard for me to kill. I know low light, eventually it'll just dissipate. Like, it'll start going yellow and start dying off if it's just not enough light. And if you're having problems with it when you get it and you plant it on the bottom, and it's dying out, maybe try it on the top where it can get more light. And Nurse Beckus, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, Nurse Beckus. Your awesome support. You guys are awesome. Yeah, I hope that move goes well for you. I know it's not easy moving aquariums. It's not as hard, or not that hard, if you have the right process. That's the trick. How long do your products typically take to ship and arrive? So I always ship Wednesdays. And the reason why I ship Wednesdays is for it to land on Friday or Saturday, because that's when most people are around and able to get it. And they usually take from then, Wednesday afternoon to, a lot of them will land on Friday. And for the long, like West Coast people, usually on Saturday. But I've had plants, shrimp, and fish live in the mail for over a month. I often, like whenever people, like there'll be like that every so often package where it just, the package gets lost or there's nothing showing where it's at or anything like that. I know it stresses a lot of people out, but for me, like I know those, they're packed good enough that, I mean, if it takes it a week to get there, it's unfortunate, but they're gonna be all right. And it's very rare that that happens. So a lot of my lost packages are often recovered. I think, shoot, I can't even remember where we've had like a total like lost package. It's been a long time, long time, like probably a year. There was just this one time they held my package hostage for some weird reason. That was like probably a year ago. Any advice for too many bees around one of my tubs? What? I would not worry about bees. What kind of bees are they? I'd say get some flowers. Let them pollinate some stuff. Get you a couple apple trees or something. What variety of cichlids do you currently have? Discus? I think that's the only one I have. Yeah. Or no, I've got the Shelleys. Got the Shelleys too. I used to get into the smaller like dwarf cichlids, like the Laticaras I mentioned, and then the Pistogrammas and the Rams and stuff like that, but I bred them. It's, you know, when you already breed out a fish, you want to just keep moving on things. Even though I've just kind of been through the gauntlet. So now I'm just kind of like breeding whatever. I think what I'm really going to focus on are the rainbow fish though, just because there's not a whole lot breeding those. And the rarity of the ones I have, I kind of have to. Papa Shrimp, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Glad to see you in here. Says happy 4th of July weekend. Happy 4th of July weekend to you as well, brother. And did I hear that you were working with Flip Aquatics now? I think I heard that on the grapevine, or I saw it in a video. But if so, congratulations. JDog67, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Mighty awesome of you. Carson Spoony Barger says, do you still have the purple Neocaridina shrimp tank? If so, how are they doing? So I do still have that tank, and it's full of rainbow fish. I actually sold most of those as coal shrimp, believe it or not. So there's actually a lot of people who have ordered from me that are probably holding those purple shrimp. Because I just do stuff like that. Because when my baby fish get big, sometimes they need homes. And having a tank full, a 75-gallon full of shrimp just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Just because like the surface area is great for the shrimp, but I would rather keep them in shallow water with the deeper tanks. I mean, they're just meant for fish. Hi Lucas, do you have rice fish to sell? So I do not currently. I do not at all. Probably won't for a long time. Big Yak 35 says, too many bees, honeybees, hundreds of them. They kind of took over this one tub that's connected to my big pond, but thanks for the reply. Maybe you can offset some flowers elsewhere so they'll be more attracted to the flowers or another area. And if you've just got like a crazy amount, you might have a nest somewhere, but I wouldn't just kill them because we definitely need our bees. And you can maybe contact somebody around your area that may be interested in taking them. There are all kinds of local bee farms and honey makers. So I don't know. I don't know how many bees is a lot, but you say too many. But maybe moving some flowers elsewhere to take their minds off of your pond might help. There's tons of wasps come in at the water at the pool where I'm staying. Yeah, I mean, because wasps, they all get thirsty. I mean, just like us humans, bees and wasps and stuff, they get thirsty. They're not out to kill you. If they wanted to sting you, they would sting you. Like, they are fast enough. If they've had that mindset to sting you, they would. Just as long as you ain't messing with them, you should be alright. I haven't been stung by a bee in, I don't know, since I was a kid and stepped on one. And I've been out there in the pond digging mud daubers, wasps, everything all around me. And they're doing their thing, I'm doing my thing. It's just the way she goes. See, GRB Aquatics says bees use my pond as their water source. A constant stream of bees fly from my pond to their hive at the end of my street and back again. See, that's cool. See, you observe it, you sit there and watch it and understand it and make it part of your ambiance. So a lot of it can just be perspective and how you look at it. How much is it to become a member and what are the benefits? So member is, I think, $5 for members. And currently there is no extra member stuff because I just can't even keep up with what's going on right now because of the builds going on this summer. But I don't know. I don't want to promise anything I can't deliver. So I try not to promise anything. And if there is something, then that's extra bonus. So really, it's just a way to show your support for what I'm helping you guys with, I guess. Sharing the knowledge, pretty much. And I don't want to just I don't want to like withhold information, like have secret special knowledge for certain people and not allow other people to get the same knowledge. Like, I just can't do that. That's just not how I roll. I feel like I'm just individualizing or just segregating people, and I don't want to do that. And Philip James, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you, Philip. Thank you so much for the support. Electro Fry says, how are the Synodontis lucipennis doing? Any for sale? So I do have some grown out, and I have been thinking about selling them. I've just got to get myself organized here. So I'm hoping by this next Friday, I'll have more stuff for you guys available. Maybe some new items as well that I have not offered at all on my website yet. So here next Friday, I'm planning on adding some of that. And I'll talk to you guys about it on the live stream, I'm sure. Man, I was just petting that cat, and now I got cat hair meshed in with my mustache, and it's just tickling the heck out of my nose. But Electro Fry, yeah, that may hit it. I've just never shipped a lucipennis either, so I kind of need a tester. Somebody asked me last Friday about that too. I should remember their name. Nocturnal Aquarius, ever breed dwarf Regani pikes? No, but I bet they're cool. Any tips for inducing spawning? Thanks, brother. Mine, have a great 4th. So you too, mine. As far as the pikes, I have no clue. I've never bred or kept any pikes. But man, dwarf pikes sound really cool. I just like the pike shapes of fish. It kind of reminds me of like the shark shape, just like a gar or something like that. Scottish Aquarium says, Lucas, do you ship to the UK? Is it possible? Unfortunately, I cannot. It's hard enough for me to keep up with everybody around here, and then the international shipping and the distance of it is, if you were to express it, it would be really crazy expensive. I guess if worse comes to, I don't know. It's just really hard for me to do special orders like that too, because I have to stick to certain processes since I have so many things that are going on in my life right now. to do those special processes with trying to do that, it's really, really, really tough for me. I've never, like, I've had so many people ask, especially in Canada, like, I wish I could. Philip James says, can red crystal shrimp breed with red cherry shrimp? No, they cannot. And red crystals, they prefer a softer water, and then the red cherry shrimp prefer a harder type water. You can keep them together in a more neutral type water, and they won't breed. They won't mix breed. They can breed together like the crystal shrimp will breed, and then the neocaridina will breed, all in the same tank, but they will not cross. And that goes with any, like a cherry shrimp is a type of neocaradinas. So your yellows, your oranges and blues, like your blue dreams, your regular orange neocaradinas, yellows, they're all the same as a cherry. And for people, some people, I don't know why, like some people say, oh, yellows are hard to keep or oranges are hard to keep, which is not true. They come from a good source. Every color is just as easy to keep as the cherries. Now, when it comes to the caradinas, your crystals, your soft water shrimp, they're gonna be a little different. Now, for the most part, they're all sort of the same. As far as water parameters, they're gonna want that softer, like TDS around 170 or so, around 200, 150, just within that ballpark. There's actually a fair amount of leniency you can get away with TDS, but they do not care for KH much. So the best thing to do is find out what type of water you have, whether it's hard or soft. Definitely recommend a TDS meter. TDS meter is like the only tool I really use in this whole hobby. All these tanks I have, if there's anything to check like my water, that's what I use, TDS parameters. And anything over 200 is considered hard, anything under 200 is considered soft, and 200 is neutral. And then figure out what kind of water you have and what suits your water best, and that's what I would roll with. And if you got a neutral water, you get away with both. And I've tried them all in all the different kinds of parameters throughout the years. I'm not happy to say it, but I'll share a little dirty secret with you guys. I've killed $1,200 worth of safari shrimp one time trying to keep them in hard water and that. I don't even think Sarah knows about that, so hopefully she ain't watching. That was a long time ago. But I learned a lesson. That was back when you didn't get information. It was really hard to get information on how to keep these shrimp. Like, they were all just so new to the hobby. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and luckily now it's more solidified as far as how to keep them because there's more people keeping them. The real truthful answer on how to keep these shrimp is out there instead of all the other misinformation. Lucas, any tips for breeding stir-by corridors? Anytime you can drop the water level, like the temp. So do your water change, come in with some cold water, it'll usually trigger them to breed. Do like 50% and then just give them some nice food to condition them. Live food, bloodworms really help when it comes to conditioning them before that big water change too. All right, well, you guys got me well over the hour here. Andy M, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, happy 4th of July, LRB, and all my American friends. Love from Canada. Well, love back at you up in Canada. I love Canada. I went and gave a talk up in Windsor. Had an absolutely lovely time up there. You guys are class acts for sure and fun. So, big shout out to all you guys, and happy 4th of July to everybody here. And if you're not in America celebrating happy 4th of July, well, I just hope you treat your weekend like you have all the independence in the world and all the freedom to live your best life. And I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me on this Friday Night Live Q&A. I gotta hop off here, feed some fish, and get back to it. So, Scottish Aquariums, thank you so much for the $1. 150 pounds. Thank you so much. Have a great one, everybody. Peace. Hey, that's my line. No, it's not, oddball. Go to bed. Love you guys. Have a great one.